wouldn't describe us as a type of Christian. If I say we're the ones who are really Christ-like. We're really.
Love. He's pretending from the camera of love.
Should we not give the far right the oxygen of publicity? Should we just not? Should we ignore them? Is that the best way?
Yeah, I feel like for different communities it might be different, but I say from the community I come from, we don't need to give them any energy. We have to kind of focus more on our own issues. But people that say we should be joining them and that, I feel like that's just a way of using our energy to fulfill their own political agenda, which I don't.
What community is your community? As in the black community? Afro-Caribbean community?
Yeah,
okay. Why would you be aligned with the far right?
I would never be aligned with the far right personally.
Okay.
But there's members of our community who they're trying to indoctrinate and make believe as if they're coming with an ideology that is, for our community.
Okay.
When the engagement that we have actually had in the park with these people is they're probably the most insensitive people to actually our community.
Are you talking about a backlash towards the Muslims?
I think the Muslims is just in order to mobilize people, you need a rallying point. In the past, black people and nigger bashing and Paki bashing was the rallying point.
Yeah.
I feel like right now Islam is the rallying point.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you think black people aren't victims of the far right as much as the Muslims are now? Because all the EDL and that lot, they would say we don't have a problem with black people, it's Muslims.
Well, that's what they'll say, but then Danny Tomo will come and do security guard for Tan when he's screaming out nigger. And the funny thing about that is when he's screaming out nigger, Danny Tomo didn't stop him. But when he started to criticise Tommy
why was he screaming that? To antagonise black people?
I think so. Yeah,
so he hates Muslims and black people?
Yeah.
Do you think if you scratch the surface of these anti-Muslims, they will actually be anti-black, anti-Semitic?
Yeah,
there will be white supremacists underneath a veil of I'm just against.
100%.
How am I racist? What race is a Muslim?
Yeah.
As he says.
Yeah.
What about in the past when the likes of the Nation of Islam stood with the KKK and said we have a common idea of separation?
I wouldn't say they stood with the KKK. I say they met with the KKK on opposing forces, realizing that they was completely.
But they had a common goal.
Opposing forces, but it like the meeting was not the same.
I feel like more strategic than
100%.
Okay.
In order for them to secure a certain amount of power.
But they were happy to be separate, right? I mean, are you?
100%.
Would you describe yourself as a black separatist?
No, I wouldn't. I'd say whether it's integration or segregation, I'm just for whatever is going to elevation.
Okay, whatever's going to do better for the black people.
Whatever's going to do better.
And is that black people from wherever they may be from?
100%.
Africans, Caribbeans.
And obviously it starts with black people because I'm a black person and because black people have been mistreated. But I am a humanitarian as well.
Okay.
So it's not like I'm caring about black people and I want bad for anyone else.
Okay.
But I do. I'm a firm believer in order for the mistreatment to stop, it's something that we need to call out and address. Which is something I do.
And it's happened to the black community, therefore you can empathise when it happens to other people.
100%.
Okay. And where does spirituality come into that? Your faith? Can I ask your religion?
Rasta.
Okay. And what Rastafari literally mean? Ras is head, right?
Yeah.
Head of the.
Head to be feared.
Head to be feared. Okay.
Yeah.
And who?
Feared by the wicked.
Okay.
Loved by the righteous.
Okay. And they see themselves as the true Israelites.
Yeah.
So the black people of the Caribbean who were enslaved identify with the Israelites who were enslaved in Egypt. 100%. And do you take that literally, or is that a spiritual symbolism?
For me, everything starts with a spiritual metaphor for me. Okay. There's nothing that I can't prove with my own two eyes and with science that I will ever take 100% literally. Yeah, even my belief in God is based upon the fact that I'm here.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, and the fact that the creation's here is based upon something that I can actually see, and it's based upon me knowing that anything that I see, anything you look around, is created by something.
Okay.
So if I'm looking at that consciousness on a micro level, I'm thinking it's common sense to say on a macro level that could be, but I'm not someone who would say the Christians are right, the Rastas are right. I'm not someone who would pretend that we would be able to understand such a fast voice what they call God.
And would you describe the Rastas as a type of Christian?
I wouldn't describe us as a type of Christian. If I say anything, I say we're the ones who are really Christ-like. We're really living out.
But and they do hark back to Ethiopia and the Orthodox Christianity that
100%.
came out of East Africa.
100%, and which goes back to Queen of Sheba and Solomon, and having the son Menelik. So that's the lineage that follows.
Queen of Sheba.
Yeah, the Queen of Sheba and Menelik.
And Haile Selassie being the latest.
The final descendant,
king of King David's line,
to sit on the throne of David. Yeah, 100%.
Thank you so much for speaking to me. I know a lot of people want to speak to you down here. I appreciate you taking the time to speak to me. All right, thank you.